Hello everyone, this is Rob, and welcome back to Media Awareness and another review video. I haven't done one of these in a while. If you like my channel or if you are a follower, please like this video and share it with someone that you think would appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. If you are new, please consider subscribing to my channel and becoming part of my YouTube family. I'd love to have you. Also, please like, share, and comment below if you'd like to do so. If you're not comfortable commenting publicly, you can contact me privately at the Facebook link in the description below. That is my personal Facebook, and I do check it daily. I also check my spam folder daily, so if your message does happen to get filtered, I will find it and we can correspond. And you can give me any feedback that you have. Also, if you'd be so kind as to consider becoming a patron of my channel on the Patreon link, I'd appreciate that. I'm attempting to make my channel grow, and the more support I receive on Patreon, the more the longevity of the channel is assured. So please consider that as well. And you're also welcome to peruse the Amazon Media Awareness wish list, where you can pick and choose different items for me to review, unbox, etc. So, Star Wars Andor, the series that no one really cared about until it began, as far as people I've talked to. No one was really anticipating this series as they were for the Book of Fett or, say, The Mandalorian. But somehow, Andor manages to be the best live-action Disney original series that they've done so far. That's my opinion. Your opinion might differ. But I think what makes this show work so well is the fact that it focuses on not only the big picture as far as what's going on in the galaxy itself, but it also, and more importantly, focuses on the little details, the cogs in the machine that make everything work. The little people doing little things that amount to big things. And I really think that that's where the show succeeds. It takes a really minimalist approach in a lot of ways to storytelling, but does it successfully. And it just gives these characters that are all new, with the exception of Cassian, and a few others that we know, Mon Mothma, and a few others. It gives them more background. It gives them more character depth, and you get to see really why they are the way they are. Before before Andor, the series, I could care less about Cassian and Andor. Did I like Rogue One? Yes, I thought it was a good film. Did I think it was a great film? No. And the reason why is there were too many main characters and not enough character development to allow you to care about main characters. So when they die, you don't care. You care more about K2SO than you do about any of the characters that were in Rogue One. However, now with the Andor series, you get this lush background on Cassian Andor, and it kind of makes you feel differently. And it really, it expands. And I think that Disney has found, well, Lucasfilm really, has found the key to success these days, and that is series formats, because you can really go into rich character development, and you can do so with a larger expanse of time, and give people a chance to get to know and love characters as opposed to shoving it down their throats, which has been attempted and failed, in my opinion. I do have some gripes. I'll say those, though, at this point. I want to focus on some of the other highlights of this show and why it's so good and why it works. Cassian Andor is one of those characters that you find throughout the series is a loose cannon in many ways and unpredictable. And you grow to love that aspect of him. There were times where things happened and I was like, what just happened? Because it happened so quickly and just spontaneously. And that's another place where the show really succeeds. It doesn't build up a lot of these events with any unnecessary tension. Things just happen. Yeah, there are moments where there are tension building areas, but there are some scenes where Cassian just turns and shoots someone completely unexpectedly. And it really, in my opinion, adds to the depth of this series and the depth of his character. Because it portrays him as this sort of slightly imbalanced yet in control person. Because he knows where he's going from point A to point B a good majority of the time. Sometimes it might not seem that clear, but he really does know. And even when he doesn't, there are no periods of unnecessary downtime. The show just continues to move along. And there are episodes where Cassian is in this prison facility. And then it's for a couple of episodes, maybe two, I think maybe actually I think 2 or 3 episodes he's in this prison. Other things are happening outside, and you see that as well. But the majority of the show focuses on those moments where he's there in those episodes. And it works. It works so well. Because it's directed so well, and the characters that he meets in there and works with in there are written so well and acted so well. Cassian Andor himself is just this really great character, it turns out. And if we had had that background prior to Rogue One, I think I would have cared more when he died in Rogue One. I would have cared a lot, actually. But not having that kind of made Rogue One just a large-scale fan service fest, in my opinion. Whereas this is the opposite. It's very low-key. It focuses on the little people and their actions in everyday life, and how these little actions have big consequences. You get to see Coruscant, and a lot of Coruscant, and areas, and the way people can actually go about moving around the planet itself, and just the cinematography is just breathtaking, and some of the scenes are amazing. It looks, in some cases, like a fan film, and in some cases like a big budget spectacle, all in one. And that's really where it succeeds as well, I think, is the fact that it doesn't try to be one or the other. It combines these elements of kind of um, primitive filmmaking with state of the art perfection, and it all balances out very well. My gripes with this show. Well, early on in the series, we have these flashbacks to Cassian Andor's childhood, and we keep having these flashbacks for the first 3 or 4 episodes, and it's overkill. These flashbacks could have been condensed into a single sequence, or even just a couple of shorter sequences. We don't need it to be beat over our heads that Cassian comes from a primitive people. We get it from the first flashback, and that it bothers me that they dragged it on for several, and I do mean several. It was getting on my nerves. The initial depicting them, his people, as primitive, and then him being essentially saved from that planet is all we needed to see. The rest is filler in those cases. But for people that aren't very sharp, I'm sure it was helpful. To me, I'm just like, okay, he's from primitive people. Why do we need this hammered over our heads so much? It bothered me. Another thing that bothered me was the plot line of Cassian looking for his sister, which seems to be the plot device to get Cassian basically in trouble to where people are looking for him. And that's the only reason why this sister plot device was used. Because after he finds out that his sister was left behind and is potentially no more, it's never mentioned again. If it was mentioned again, if it was referenced again, I would have had no problem with it. Because that's part of good storytelling, is introducing a plot line and bringing it back around at some point in a way that pays off. This doesn't pay off with that plot line. It gets dropped and he moves on. So that bothers me. And don't get me started on the season finale, because it has been renewed for a season 2, I believe. The season finale was really disappointing. I think the episode prior could have ended the season, and they could have saved the final episode as episode 1 of season 2. It's just, it doesn't work as a tension-filled finale. It doesn't have tension, yes, but it has what I will refer to as predictable tension, not unpredictable. It doesn't go really with the character of Cassian, and the whole series really flows with his character, and it reflects his character in how it's structured. The final episode, though, is a letdown. in my humble opinion. It's a good episode, but it's not the payoff that you waited for throughout the entire series. And then, of course, there is the end credit sequence. Now, if any of you have missed this end credit sequence, pause this video and look it up now and come back. 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. Alright. Obviously, casting Andor, this series, is taking place prior to Rogue One. So why do we need to see the Death Star being built by these little nanorobots? Why? And why is that so significant as an end credit sequence for a series that was long? I'm still trying to figure that out. It's like we know when this story is taking place, or we should know as fans, and the people are really that slow not to realize that this series is taking place prior to the construction of the first Death Star, then really you guys gotta get hooked on phonics or something, because it's not that difficult to understand. It's not rocket science. Another thing I liked, back to things I like, when Cassian is in the prison, the prison uniforms are these like white jumpsuits that are really reminiscent of George Lucas's initial film, THX 1138, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. It's a great film, but the outfits they wear in the prison, the costumes, are really reflective of that. And I thought that was a really cool way of paying homage to THX and to Lucas, or a really clever accident. Either way, it was brilliant to see and very refreshing. So yeah, Andor, the series that nobody wanted, yet it's the best Star Wars live action series so far, in my opinion. Did I like The Mandalorian season 1 and 2? Yes, I loved them. Did I like Book of Fett? Yes, I loved it. But this gives you so much more. And it gives you all these little tidbits, these little nuggets of how the Rebel Alliance is getting the funding for the rebellion. It's being money laundered by Bon Mothma, essentially. And it's really brilliant the way it's all plotted, and the way it all ties together for the whole overarching story as a whole. I highly recommend Star Wars Andor. Streaming on Disney Plus. I will stick a link to the trailer for the series, well, one of the trailers at least, in the description, along with, of course, a link to my personal Facebook. If you're not comfortable leaving comments below, you can do so to me privately and on Facebook. You can also find the link to my Patreon page, where you can choose to support this channel and assure the continued longevity of media awareness. This is Rob. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.